Just look at these rules. No wonder it's so tricky for so many to master gerund infinitive. Gerund infinitive is in nearly every single sentence in the English language, yet the rules are kind of non existent. Rules account for maybe 60% of gerund infinitive. 40% is all those beautiful exception verbs, and they can only be learned through repetition. Don't worry, this is probably going to be an incredibly long video lesson I'm doing for you guys today. We're going to dive deep into gerund and infinitive, all the rules, and there are some rules to really help you, and all the exception verbs, exception verbs, we're going to drill them. Drill them means learn them through repetition. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to give you a big quiz on gerund and infinitive to make sure you've locked in learning. Let's get started. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Melissa B. Duarte. I'm the author of the Global Business English Mastery Series. It's a 5-part book series that dives deep into every aspect of business English. I'll put the links and information down below in the description of this video. Anyways, let's jump into gerund and infinitive. Now, first, we're going to take a look at gerund, and the first 2 rules of gerund are doable. I mean, doable means capable of being done. They're manageable. They're okay. These first 2 rules are pretty straightforward. You should have these locked in very, very easily by the end of this video. And again, at the end of the video, I'm going to have a big quiz for you, and I'll be drilling a lot of these exception verbs as well, which is what makes this grammar really tricky. So rule number 1 with gerund, we use gerund after prepositions. There you go. In, for, with, about, at. After a preposition, you're going to go into a gerund. Now, the reason this is quite doable is this is a pretty easy rule to remember. And in business English, we use phrasal verbs all the time. Phrasal verbs are fundamental in regular English, especially in business English. So after a phrasal verb, because a phrasal verb is a combination of a verb plus a preposition. That's what a phrasal verb is. After a phrasal verb, you're going to go right into gerund. So, for example, I'm looking forward to meeting you this week. I'm looking forward to, that's your phrasal verb. To is your preposition, meeting you this week. So you wouldn't say I'm looking forward to meet you this week. That's incorrect because looking forward to is a phrasal verb. To is a preposition. I'm looking forward to meeting you this week or next week. Okay, so let me give you some examples here. She's responsible for coordinating the project timeline. She's responsible for coordinating the project timeline. I'm interested in joining the marketing team. I'm interested in joining the company. So you're interviewing, you wouldn't say I'm interested to join the company. No, I'm interested in, because that's the collocation, interested in something. I'm interested in joining the company. We talked about improving internal communication. We talked about improving internal communication. So what was the meeting about? Oh, we talked about to improve internal communication. No, we talked about a preposition, improving internal communication. I apologize for missing the client meeting. I apologize for is a preposition. I apologize for missing the client meeting. I apologize for the delay. Now, this is something that's really tricky when it comes to gerund and infinitive. You don't always need gerund and infinitive. I apologize for the delay. Apologize for, noun. So gerund and infinitive only even exists if you're going verb and verb, right? So if you're going from verb into noun, you don't even need gerund and infinitive. Gerund and infinitive is only when you have 2 verbs together. So I apologize for missing the client meeting. I apologize for being late. I apologize for sending this to you late. I apologize for the error. I apologize to the company for the error. So you're only going to use this if you're going from a verb into a verb. So I apologize for missing the client meeting. There you go. So again, so a lot of times students would be like, well, I've heard something different than apologize for missing the meeting. Of course, I apologize for the error. I apologize for the delay. You only need gerund and infinitive if you're going verb and verb. The error, the delay, those are nouns. So there's no need for gerund and infinitive here. Again, it's only verb and verb together. So this is another layer of what makes gerund and infinitive so tricky, because of course you can say, I apologize for the delay. That's perfect English. I apologize for the delay. I apologize for making you wait. Okay, so like I said, the first two rules for gerund are pretty manageable. The first one after prepositions. Now, this is as the subject of a sentence. What does that mean? It basically means you're starting a sentence with a verb. So when you start a sentence with a verb, you're going to start with a gerund. You're going to go right into the sentence starting with a gerund. So this is a pretty easy one. You're starting a sentence. You wouldn't say to network is essential in our industry. No, networking is essential in our industry. Or to manage a team is essential for success in a company. No, managing a team is essential for success in a company. So you're starting a sentence with a verb, it's going to be a gerund. Let me give you some examples here. Balancing work and professional life is more and more important to people these days. So you wouldn't say to manage work and personal life. No, you're starting a sentence. Managing work and personal life is essential for many people these days. Communicating clearly avoids any misunderstandings between us and the client. Investing in employee well-being is essential for our company growth. So again, I'm starting these sentences with a verb. I'm going to start them with a gerund, not with to. Networking with professionals is key to career growth. Not to network with professionals is key to career growth. Networking with professionals is key to career growth. Now, when I say the wrong version, to network with professionals is key to career growth, or networking with professionals is key to career growth, does one sound better than the other? If one sounds better than the other, meaning the gerund sounds better, it means you've already had a lot of exposure to correct English. So if you're finding you're listening going, wow, to network with professionals is key to career growth, sounds as good to me as networking with professionals to career growth, that means you need more exposure to English. That means listen to more podcasts, listen to more lessons, listen to just watch series. You just need more exposure. Training your ear is going to help you a lot with the gerund and infinitive. So if you're kind of listening to what I'm saying and I'm saying the wrong version and it kind of sounds okay to you, then invest a little bit of time in watching more series, sitting in on more meetings, listen to more native speakers talking, listen to some podcasts, and really develop your ear, because your ear is going to help you saying, well, I don't know why, but managing a large team can be tricky. Sounds better to me than to manage a large team is quite tricky. So if you find that you're not really differentiating what sounds better than the other, then you just need a bit more exposure to English. So, I mean, of course, in this video, we're going to dive deep into this, and there's rules here to help you. I'm starting a sentence, so it's going to be a gerund. But if you're finding your ears not really catching what sounds wrong, then I really suggest you kind of dive deep and into really expanding your exposure to native English speaking dialogues. It doesn't have to be business English, because gerund infinitive is gerund infinitive. It's everywhere in English. So make sure you do that. But again, if you're speaking or you're writing, make sure that first verb, if you're starting with a verb, it's going to be a gerund. Okay, so the first two rules for gerund were pretty straightforward. After prepositions, after phrasal verbs, or as the start of a sentence, as the subject of a sentence. This next rule is not as easy. We use a gerund after nouns that express a habit, an action, or a process. This is hard. So after nouns that express action, habit, or process, let me give you some examples here. So nouns expressing an action, we want to go into gerund. These are something that describes what the action involves as a noun. So the meeting reviewing quarterly reviews was longer than I expected. The meeting reviewing quarterly reviews was longer than I expected. So the meeting, that's your noun, that's an action. Reviewing quarterly reviews. So the meeting, reviewing. I know you're probably looking ing together. It's perfectly good English. But because the meeting is a noun there, it's not a verb. Next one is the report outlining company goals was presented yesterday. The report outlining company goals was presented yesterday. So the report, that's an action. Someone put together that report. Someone presented that report outlining company goals was presented yesterday. The discussion shaping the new policy took all afternoon. The discussion shaping the new policy took all afternoon. That discussion is an action, so we go right into the gerund. The email confirming payment arrived this morning. So you transferred a large amount of money to one of your investors for his dividends on his investment, and the email confirming payment arrived this morning. So the email, that's a noun, arrived this morning. The action, the email came into you, It was confirming payment, arrived this morning. Next one is the presentation highlighting our progress, really impressed the board of directors. So the presentation, that's an action, highlighting our progress, really impressed the board of directors. So those are actions as nouns that are followed by gerund. This isn't easy. I know this isn't easy. Don't worry, at the end, we're going to have a quiz here. And again, the more exposure you have to this type of grammar is really going to help you kind of let it sink in. Sink in is like, well, it's a sink. You put a rock in a bucket of water and it's going to sink to the bottom. Well, we say sink in. It's a phrasal verb in English. And sink in means, okay, it's not just a surface understanding. I'm really going to understand this in a deep way. This will sink in by the end of this video. Okay, next one is we're going to use a gerund after nouns expressing a habit. So his habit arriving late to meetings is becoming an issue. His habit arriving late to meetings is becoming an issue. His habit arriving late to meetings is becoming an issue. Or their practice reviewing safety procedures keeps their team compliant. So their practice, that's your noun, reviewing safety procedures keeps their team compliant. Okay, so these are nouns going right into gerund. Her custom checking data manually saves time in the long run. Her custom it means her habit. Checking data manually saves time in the long run. You could totally throw in, when it comes to habit ones here, you could probably, in all these examples I've given you anyway, more often than not, you can throw in a preposition in its exact same meaning. So her habit of checking data manually saves time in the long run. Her custom of checking data manually saves time in the long run. You could totally throw in a preposition there, but you do not need to. And a lot of native English speakers just don't even put it in there. Her custom checking data manually saves time in the long run. So often we won't even throw in a preposition there, but you could when it comes to habit. That's perfectly fine. Our routine updating reports daily helps track progress. Our routine updating reports daily. Our routine, this is our habit, updating reports daily helps to track progress or performance. Or the pattern missing deadlines needs to be addressed. So this department continually is missing deadlines. The habit, the pattern missing deadlines needs to be addressed. The pattern of missing deadlines, again, because it's a habit, you could throw in a preposition. You don't need to, but just again, make sure the habit missing deadlines, the pattern missing deadlines needs to be addressed. So we have a habit here as a noun. You want to go right into gerund. The next little bit here is nouns expressing a process, very similar to action, but we're describing systems, workflows, stages, and especially in business writing, this is pretty prominent, pretty important. So the process hiring new employees has been streamlined. The process hiring new employees has been streamlined. Again, 100% you could throw a preposition in there. So when it comes to process, more often than not, we do use, not more often than not, I'd probably say like 60-40. So it's like 50-50 or a little bit more. We often do throw in the preposition. But when it comes to business writing, when it comes to business speaking, often we'll kind of streamline our words and we'll take out the little extras. So in business writing and in emails, report writing, often we would not even include this preposition. So this is why it's important to know that we go directly into a gerund. The process hiring new employees has been streamlined. The procedure handling refunds was recently improved. So if I could perfectly say the procedure of handling refunds has been improved. The procedure of handling refunds. Well, then you know, of is a preposition, it goes right into gerund. More often than not, we'll just take out that preposition in business language to make it a lot more straightforward, a lot less wordy. And so again, the procedure handling refunds has been streamlined. You want to go right from procedure, that noun describing the process, right into gerund. The system generating invoices needs maintenance. The system generating invoices needs maintenance. Okay, so the system for generating invoices, but more often than not, we just say the system generating invoices needs maintenance. Okay, you've made it to rule number 4 of gerund and infinitives, and this is the big one. This is really, really tricky. The reason this is so tricky is there are no rules. You just have to remember after these verbs, if you're going to follow these verbs with another verb, that second verb is going to be a gerund. Now, this is tricky for two reasons. Number one, there's no rules. You just really have to remember that after avoid, and if you're going to add a verb after avoid, it's going to be a gerund. We want to avoid making mistakes on this proposal. So avoid doing something. So avoid is followed, all these verbs I'm going to give you here are followed by a gerund. That's rule number one, that what makes it super, super tricky within this. The second reason it makes this really tricky, because a lot of students have brought this to me saying, Melissa, I've heard avoid used or followed by something that's not a gerund. And I'm like, yeah, probably a noun. We want to avoid mistakes, avoid errors. So if you follow any of these verbs by a noun, well, there's no gerund and infinitive. Gerund and infinitive only exists when there's two verbs together. So this is another reason it makes it so tricky. So let's go through. Again, you really want to train your ear here. Your ear is your best friend, and your brain can't remember all of these. That's why we're going through and we're going to drill with repetition. So first one, admit. Admit is followed by a gerund when it's a verb. So he admitted making a mistake on the contract. So he admitted to the mistake. He admitted to the mistake. He admitted the mistake. Those are nouns, but we're not dealing with nouns here. We're dealing with gerund. So he admitted making the mistake. He admitted sending the report late. He admitted arriving late to the meeting. So admit doing something. Next one, advise. They advised waiting before making a final decision. They advised upgrading my skills before I applied for a senior role. So advise doing something. Next one, appreciate. We really appreciate you taking the time to review our proposal. We really appreciate taking the time, or you taking the time reviewing our proposal. We appreciate working with you. We appreciate you coming back to us with a revamp of the report. So appreciate someone doing something, or appreciate doing something. It's perfect. Of course, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. Those are nouns. That's not a verb. Again, gerund is only when it's verb and verb together. Next one, avoid. We should avoid using too much technical jargon in the meeting. Avoid making mistakes. Avoid calling the client too frequently. Avoid, I don't know, working too late and burning out. So avoid doing something. Next one, consider. The manager's considering hiring another assistant. And again, a lot of students will say, hey, that's two INGs together. Well, that's perfectly fine. Just like when we had the nouns, when a noun is an ING, meeting, we had a meeting discussing the next quarter. We had a meeting discussing the next quarter. It's perfectly fine. And again, here we want to, we are considering hiring new people for the team. Consider hiring new people for the team. It's perfectly fine. I know it probably looks a little off. English is strange. Embrace the pain. It's just the way it is. Next one is a delay. We had to delay launch the campaign due to budget issues. Delay. We want to delay sending through the payment until we've made sure that the product works fine. So delay doing something. Deny. Paula denied leaking the confidential information, or she denied making that error. She denied missing the meeting with the client. She said she was there. So again, deny doing something. Discuss. She discussed expanding her company with the investors, or we'll discuss expanding the sales team next week. Let's discuss taking on more people within the team in the next year. So again, you can discuss something. Let's discuss the report. Fine. Let's discuss rolling out the report. Let's discuss presenting the report to the investors. So when you have discuss followed by a verb, it's going to be a gerund. Dislike. I dislike working overtime without compensation. He dislikes working with Julia. She's quite frustrating to work with. We really dislike receiving payment late from the client. Same thing with dislike is enjoy. I enjoy leading international workshops. I enjoy making these videos for you. She enjoys embracing all the differences in English grammar. I enjoy working with a multinational company. So enjoy doing something, not enjoy to, never. but I enjoy the work. That's a noun. So again, there's so much here for your brain to take in. The rules are kind of non-existent. And of course, your ear is going to hear enjoy followed by a noun. This is not a noun here. We're doing with enjoy, verb plus a verb. Finish. We finally finished analyzing the data. We finally finished uploading the file. They finally finished sending through the payment for the last amount that was outstanding. So finish doing something. Give up. Don't give up trying to improve your presentation skills. Don't give up trying to work on your English grammar. Don't give up finding a new position. So give up doing something. Imagine closing 5 new deals this quarter. Imagine growing your career so you're working internationally. Imagine speaking English at a C2 level. So imagine doing something. This role involves managing multiple departments. So this is really good for interviewing. So what does this role involve doing? Well, this role involves working across 5 different departments. This role involves taking on a lot of client requests and dealing with them. So involve doing something. Keep. They keep changing the product requirements. They keep pushing the deadline. They keep delaying payment. They keep frustrating me with their requests. So keep as in continue. We follow this by a gerund. Mentioned. In the meeting, they mentioned meeting with the client last week. They mentioned expanding the company. They mentioned going into a merger. Again, they mentioned a merger. Mention, verb, a merger, noun. They mentioned going into a merger. So you want to, when it's verb and verb, you want to make sure you have a gerund there. Next one, mind. Do you mind joining the call a bit earlier tomorrow? Do you mind helping me with this project? Do you mind going over this with me? Do you mind starting 5 minutes earlier tomorrow? Do you mind reviewing this presentation? I don't like the last little bit. So do you mind means can you do something, but do you mind is followed by a gerund. Next one is miss. I miss working with Julia. She was fantastic. I miss working with our old team. I miss using our old systems. I miss going to work in our old office. I miss our old office. I miss, noun, our old office. I miss working in our old office. I miss traveling to our old office. It was really close. Postpone. We had to postpone signing the agreement. We had to postpone doing something. We had to postpone meeting with the client due to issues. So postpone doing something. Practice. She practices giving presentations in front of the mirror. You want to practice using gerund infinitive as much as possible. We want to practice delivering to the client before we make any errors in the actual shipment. Prevent. The new policy prevents employees from sharing company data. We want to prevent delaying shipment. We want to prevent delays in shipment. That's a noun. We want to prevent delaying payment, delaying shipment. We want to prevent frustrating employees with continual updates on the platform. So you want to prevent doing something. Again, this is a hard one for me to make an example with because often we will prevent something and it will be followed by a noun. Again, another level of what makes this grammar so tricky. Quit. So she quit her job. She quit working with company B. She quit her job. Noun. She quit working with company B. He quit working in sales to start his own business. We need to quit sending invoices out in an ad hoc way. We need to quit hiring employees without enough experience. We need to quit hiring these people. So quit means to stop doing something and followed by a gerund. Recall. Recall means remember, by the way. I don't recall approving that transaction. I don't recall him asking that question in the interview. I don't recall asking that question in the interview. I don't recall you requesting this from me. So I don't remember you doing something. I recommend taking the advanced English course. I recommend reviewing this video many times to really lock in learning of the gerund and infinitive. I recommend doing something. I recommend going in this direction. This is very good for meetings. Where do you think we should go with this? I recommend taking on candidate A. I recommend moving in this direction. So Okay, you're getting there. You're nearly at the end, not the end of the video. You're at the beginning of the video, sorry. But you're nearly at the end of the exception verbs for gerund. Now, these ones here are verbs that are followed by gerund. Again, of course, you can follow these verbs by a noun, but this is not what gerund infinitive is. It's verb plus verb. So, report. The assistant reported seeing irregular activity in the account. Resent. Some employees resent working late without compensation. Some employees resent not getting recognition for their work. Some employees resent working over the weekend without being paid for it. Resist. It's hard to resist checking your emails over the weekend. It's hard to resist saying something negative when someone is being critical of your work. Risk. We can't risk losing our biggest client. We can't risk spending too much on this project. I suggest reviewing the document again before sending it to the client. I suggest reviewing gerund infinitive multiple times because it's hard to lock in the learning. Tolerate. We don't tolerate being late to client meetings. We don't tolerate misunderstandings amongst colleagues when there's no communication involved. We don't tolerate being rude to our clients or your subordinates. I understand wanting more flexible work hours. I understand wanting to work with a client B. I understand wanting more money, but we don't have the budget for it right now. Okay, you've done it. You've gone through gerund. Now we're going to jump into infinitive. Just like with gerund, how the first two rules were somewhat straightforward. We use gerund after prepositions and gerund as a subject, beginning of a sentence. Here, the first two rules with infinitive are pretty straightforward. So we use infinitive after an adjective. So we use adjectives all the time, especially in business English, to really up our expression, to up the understanding of something, to paint a better picture for our clients. So it's important to review gerund and infinitive regularly. It's important to follow procedures within the company. Important is an adjective, to do something, or she's eager to expand her career. We're eager to take you on board. I'm eager to move into this exciting opportunity. Difficult. It was very difficult to meet the client deadline. It's very difficult to achieve these results, but our team did it. Proud. We're very proud to present this new product to you today. We're very proud to take you on board. I'm proud to work with this company. So these are adjectives. It's very common to face challenges in international negotiations. It's very common to, I don't know, work with difficult coworkers. It's common to deal with delay in shipment, delay in funding, delay in financing. So when something's an adjective, I'm very happy to be here today. You wouldn't say I'm happy being here today. I'm very happy to be here today. You want to follow that adjective by an infinitive. Okay, next rule, which is somewhat straightforward. Straightforward just means it's not too difficult, not too vague. It's pretty clear, pretty clear. Is we use infinitive after question words. This is who, what, when, where, whether. Notice I didn't include why, because why is actually an exception. So sorry, we use infinitive after question words except for why. All the other question words, apart from why, we use infinitive. Okay, let me give you some examples here. I don't know how to explain the issue clearly to the client. I don't know how to open this file. I don't know how to finish the report on time. Okay, they're deciding when to announce the new pricing module. They're deciding when to take on the new staff. They're deciding when to announce the new CEO to the company. Can you show me how to use the new reporting software? Can you show me how to open this? Can you show me how to do a presentation? Can you show me how to use this equipment? We're still discussing who to assign to lead the project. We're still deciding who to move this company project to. We're still working on who to send this project to. So, who to give something to. And she wasn't sure where to start when it came to financial analysis, or I'm not sure where to start with this report. I'm not sure where to look when I'm giving a presentation. So these are all question words followed by infinitive. Again, not with why. Why is going to be followed by gerund. I don't see why following these grammar rules is so difficult. I do see why. Many students have a difficult time understanding how to follow these grammar rules. See what I did there? Okay, we're on to rule number 3 here with infinitives. And this is very similar to rule number 3 with gerunds. So if you remember way back in the video, we had gerunds, which were followed by nouns that expressed either an action, a process, or a habit. Well, rule number 3 here with infinitives are infinitives, which follow a noun that expresses either a purpose or an intention. Okay, so the company organized a seminar to train new employees, or we organized a seminar to train new staff. So, what's the purpose of it? What's the intention? Then we're going to follow it by to. They launched a campaign to attract new investors. They launched a campaign to attract new staff, new clients. Why did they do it? What was the purpose? What was the intention? So, if you're followed by an intention or a purpose for something, you're going to follow that by to. He submitted his proposal to request additional funding. Why did he submit a new proposal? What was the intention? What was the purpose? To request additional funding. She made a call to confirm the interview schedule. Now you could say here she made a call confirming the interview schedule, or she made a call to confirm the interview schedule. She made a call confirming the interview schedule. That call is describing the action. And if I say she made a call to confirm the interview schedule, that is the purpose or intention of the call. So between these ones, there's a lot of gray area, even with meet, for example. So for example, you could say, we had a meeting to discuss the new policy. We had a meeting to discuss the new policies. The purpose of the meeting, the intention of the meeting was to discuss the new policy. Or we had a meeting discussing the new policy. Both are perfect English, but a little different perspective angle change. We had a meeting discussing the new policy, meaning that was the words that was taking place. That's the action involved in the meeting, discussing the new policy. That was the action taking place in the meeting. So we had a meeting discussing a new policy, or we had a meeting to discuss a new policy. Does that make sense? Don't If it doesn't, don't worry. We will do a review at the end of this video and a quiz. And anything you get wrong in the quiz, I will describe why the answer is correct. Okay, just like with gerund, we have a whole list of exception verbs here with to. Now, again, your ear's going to say, what? I've heard something different. These verbs can 100% be followed by nouns. This is not what gerund and infinitive is. Gerund and infinitive is these verbs followed by verbs. And if these verbs down below are followed by verbs, they're going to be infinitive. Let's take a look here. Agree. We agree to extend the deadline for the client. I agree to extend your holiday by 5 days. Appear. The system appears to be working correctly now. The system appears to be glitchy today. Appears to be, not appears being, appears to be. Arrange. I'll arrange to meet this supplier next week. I'll arrange to send the contract to you by EOD, end of day. Ask. She asked to speak to the regional director. They asked to have an extension on their payment terms. We asked to review the report before we sent it through to the client. Ask to do something. Attempt. They attempted to resolve the issue immediately. They attempted to take over the company in the acquisition, but it didn't go through. They attempt to do something. Choose. We chose to focus on long-term partnerships. They were choosing to focus on long-term partnerships. So choose to focus on something. I chose to leave my previous employer to apply for this position because this is where I want to be as a worker. Great for interviews. Okay, decide. I've decided to move into this field. The board will decide to approve the new marketing strategy. Demand. The client demanded to see proof of the results. The manager demanded to see my sick note because I didn't go to work yesterday. Finance demanded to see the receipts for my business trip. Demand to do something, to see something. We expect to receive the shipment by Monday. We expect to meet the client next Tuesday. We expect to see lots of revenue from this ad campaign. We expect to grow our company by 25% by the next year. Fail. The manager failed to mention the budget in the meeting. The CEO failed to get the staff motivated in the meeting. Don't forget to confirm the meeting in writing. Hope. I hope to finish this report by Tuesday. We hope to have you working with us by the end of the week. We hope to give you a successful project and campaign to help your company move forward. We hope to inspire our employees to stay with our company for many years. Learn. She learned to handle upset clients. She learned to handle difficult projects. She learned to deal with difficult situations over many years in business. He managed to complete the project on time. Managed here means were able to or dealt with. They managed to meet the deadline despite being down 5 staff. Down means you're without 5 staff. We need to improve our payment process. We need to improve our presentation skills. They need to improve their English skills if they want to expand globally. Next one is offer. The company offered to pay the relocation expenses. We want to offer to pay for your moving expenses. They offered to cover the costs of the research for the new project. So offer to do something. We plan to expand into European markets. I plan to go on holiday next month. Is that going to be a problem? We plan to expand our department by 25%. Prepare. She's preparing to give a presentation to investors. We're preparing to move forward with this investment. We want to prepare to move into Q4 with a surplus of budget. He pretended to understand the data, but he really didn't. We can't pretend to understand this market. It's completely new for us. Don't pretend to understand English if you don't understand what someone's saying. Just ask them and they will explain for you what they're trying to say. Promise. They promised to deliver results within 2 weeks. You promised to deliver sales to us, but we did not expand our sales whatsoever. What's up with that? So they promised to do something and they let us down, or they promised to do something and they fulfilled that promise. We refuse to give you a refund unless you have a receipt. The supplier refused to follow the agreements in the contract. The client refused to lower their prices. Staff refused to work during the strike. Everyone seemed to appreciate the new work policies. Everyone seemed to appreciate the new office. Everyone seemed to appreciate the company barbecue. The client seemed to appreciate the extension on the payment terms. Our clients tend to prefer in-person meetings. Jim tends to be late for meetings every week. Our software tends to crash every 2 weeks. I want to review the report before it's published. I want to practice the presentation before I give it to the investors. I want to see you in my office in 5 minutes. We wish to thank all of our partners for working with us through these difficult times. We wish to expand into this market going through to the next year. We wish to work with you going forward. Gotten through the really difficult part of this video. This is gerund and all those exception verbs, and infinitive and all those exception verbs. Now this bit's a little bit easier. These are verbs that can be both gerund and infinitive with no change in meaning or such a small change in meaning. It really doesn't matter which one you use. I'll explain these as we go forward. So the first one is begin. So you can say begin doing something or begin to do something. There's really no change in meaning, nothing really substantial or not a big deal. So we began discussing the proposal right after the meeting. We began to discuss the proposal right after the meeting. Both are perfectly fine. There's no really big difference in meaning. There's no real difference. Don't worry about it. The manager began to explain the new process. The manager began explaining the new process. No difference here. They began to notice a drop in productivity. They began noticing a drop in productivity. So, really, not a big difference. Both are totally fine here. Next one is start. Now, start is the same meaning. Both are very, very natural. She started working on the annual report. She started to work on the annual report. Now, there's a slight difference here, but it's not big enough to be a big deal. If I say she started working on the annual report, it means that she started working on something, like she sat down, started working on it. If I say she started to work on the annual report, it means that she made an intention to start doing something. There's really no difference here. I mean, mix these up. These are totally fine. Completely, when it comes to start, it's totally fine to do gerund or infinitive. He started to apply for a position last month. He started to applying for new jobs last month. He started to apply for, I don't know, a promotion. He started applying for a promotion. Really no difference here. Completely mix them up. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. The small differences, the small nuances between these are not a big deal. You can mix them up. There's no big difference. There's no big deal. The company started to implement new guidelines. The company started implementing new guidelines. Again, completely fine. Mix these up. Don't worry about it. Continue. Continue with gerund, continue with infinitive. Same meaning, both are very natural. They continued to negotiate after the deadline. They continued negotiating after the deadline. She continued to lead the team despite all the challenges. She continued leading the team despite all the challenges. I hope you continue to learn English. I hope you continue learning English. Both are totally fine here. Now, like, love, and hate. These are ones that you can totally mix them up. Native English speakers mix them up. There's a small difference in meaning, unlike the previous three I've given you. There's a small difference in meaning, but it's really not a big deal at all. So I put these in these categories that you can completely mix them up because it's not wrong or right. So if you say like plus gerund, it just means you generally enjoy something or it's a habit. And if you say like plus infinitive, it's kind of a choice or something specific or a context or a formal way you like doing something. For example, I like working with international clients. It just means I enjoy working with international clients. I like to work with international clients. It's kind of my choice because I enjoy it. So they're really the same here. I know I'm trying to explain this to you and I'm kind of going, well, they're kind of the same. They're kind of not. They really are the same. I mean, if you mix them up, it's totally fine. I like cooking. I like to cook. Now, the time this gets a little bit different is, I say I like to check my emails in the morning, meaning I think it's a good idea to check my emails in the morning. But of course, I like checking my emails in the morning. I enjoy this because I think it's a good idea. So these really go together. So again, a lot of grammar books will kind of separate these ones. I wouldn't separate them. If you like to do something, or you hate to do something, it's because you like doing that thing, you enjoy it, or you hate doing that thing, you don't enjoy it. So they really do go together. You can mix these up. It's totally not a big deal. No native English speaker will say, oh, he likes checking his email in the morning, as opposed to he likes to check his email in the morning. Both are perfectly fine. Native English speakers will mix these up all the time. It's completely fine. Same thing with love. I mean, love means really like. So I love helping my students reach their goals. I love to help my students reach their goals. Totally the same. He loves to travel for business. He loves traveling for business. They love to innovate in their industry. They love innovating in their industry. These are totally fine. Again, love here just means to really, really like something. Or hate. I hate waiting for responses from clients. I hate to wait for responses from clients. She hates to waste time on unproductive meetings. She hates wasting time on unproductive meetings. They hate to disappoint their clients or their partners. They hate disappointing their clients or partners. These, you can totally mix these up. It's totally fine. It's not a big deal. Again, it's not going to have a big change in meaning at all. Perfectly fine. Prefer is another one here. I prefer working independently. I prefer to work independently. I prefer to start meetings on time. I prefer starting meetings on time. We prefer to communicate by email. We prefer communicating by email. Both are totally fine. Mix them up. Not a big change in meaning or zero change in meaning. Okay, now we're in a little bit trickier territory here. So previously we had verbs that could be followed by gerund and infinitive. with really no big difference in meaning whatsoever. Here we have verbs that can be followed in gerund or infinitive, both, but the meaning is different. So forget and remember are quite similar. So I'm going to teach them to you together. So forget, if you forget plus gerund, it means you forget that something already happened. You did it, but you have no memory of it. Or forget to do something means you didn't do something. Just like remember. If you remember doing something, you have a memory of it. If you remember to do something, you will not forget to do it. So these ones go hand in hand. Let's jump in first to forget plus gerund. So I'll never forget meeting the client for the first time. They were wearing a funny pink shirt. Or she forgot sending the report yesterday. She sent the report, but she has no memory of it. She forgot sending the report yesterday. Or he forgot attending the same seminar last year. So he attended the same seminar last year. He has no memory of it. He forgot attending the seminar last year. Again, this is all gerund. Now, forgot with infinitive means a future action which is not done or an action which is not done. So don't forget to send the updated proposal. Or sorry, I forgot to reply to his email. I haven't done it yet. I forgot to do something. Or she forgot to call the supplier this morning. She was supposed to call the supplier this morning. It didn't happen. No action has been taken. She didn't do it. This is very similar to remember. So remember plus gerund is you remember something you've already done. I remember locking the door twice to the office when I left, or don't forget to lock the door when you left. That's remember plus infinitive, and remember to do something, a task or responsibility. Give you some examples here. I remember signing the contract last month. I remember meeting him at the conference. Do you remember meeting him at the conference? No, I don't remember meeting him at the conference. Or she remembers reviewing the report before sending it out. She remembers sending that report to the client. Why did they say they didn't receive it? She remembers sending that report. So she has a memory of something. So then with remember and infinitive, remember to attach the document before sending it means don't forget to do something. Or please remember to check the figures before sending the report to the client. So remember to do something. So don't forget to do something. Always remember to thank the clients after a project. Remember to do something means don't forget to do something. Okay, now we're looking at stop. So stop, again, you can use stop with gerund and infinitive, but there is a change in meaning, just like with remember and just like with forget. So stop plus gerund means you stop doing an activity completely. You may start the activity again in the future, but for the time being, for the present time, you stop doing that activity. Stop plus infinitive means you stop one activity in order to do something else. So you kind of change gears. You stop doing one thing to do something else. Gerund is you stop doing something completely. You may start it in the future, but for the time being, you're not doing something. I'll give you some examples here. So stop doing something means, he stopped smoking last year. He might start smoking in 5 years from now, but for the time being, he's not smoking. He stopped smoking last year. Or we stopped working at 8 p.m. last night. Today we're working, so we did start working again, but we stopped working at 8 p.m. tonight. We stopped working for that day. Or the company stopped offering discounts due to budget cuts. They may offer discounts in the future, but for the time being, they stopped offering budget cuts. So I stopped drinking coffee in the morning. I just no longer am drinking coffee in the morning, but I may do that. I may drink coffee again next month. It doesn't mean it's forever, but for the time being, I've stopped doing something. Now, stop plus infinitive means you stop one thing or pause one thing to do another one. So we stopped to rest after the meeting. So we were having a meeting and we didn't go directly from meeting to the next meeting. We stopped to take a break. We stopped to rest after the meeting. So you stopped the meeting to take a break and relax. Or she stopped to answer an important call. So she was in the meeting, giving a big meeting. She stopped to answer an important call. So she stopped that meeting to do something else. So to stop to do something is you're changing gears. You're changing what you're doing. You're not stopping something completely. You're stopping that one thing to do something else. Or I stopped to grab a quick coffee before the presentation. If I say I stopped grabbing coffee before presentations, means I used to always grab coffees before presentations. I would always buy a coffee before presentations. That means it's normal. And I say I stopped grabbing coffees before presentations. Now I no longer go out and buy a coffee before presentations. I stopped grabbing coffee before presentations. But if I say I stopped to grab a coffee before the presentation, means On the way to the presentation, I stopped to go get a coffee, and then I went to the presentation. So it's one thing, I stopped one thing to do another thing. Next one is try, and try is difficult. So this is hard for a lot of people, but I have a little trick for you here. So try plus gerund means you're going to experiment or test something. So you're in a video call and someone's video is lagging. Can you try refreshing your page? It's an experiment. Maybe it will work. Maybe it won't work. Okay, can you try refreshing your page? Can you try rebooting your system? So try doing something means you're going to experiment to test something, see what happens, see if it works, see if it has an effect. Try to do something means you're going to make an effort. Okay, so for example, you're really laggy on a video call. Can you try refreshing your page? Can you try rebooting your system? Which means this is an experiment. Maybe this will help. Maybe it won't help. Can you try to log on earlier? Can you try to clean up your system a little bit? It means make an effort to do something. So they're quite different here. So be very careful which one you use because you're saying something completely different. So the first one with try and gerund, try calling him on Teams instead of email. So I'm trying to get a hold of Bob. Bob's not responding to my emails. Oh, try calling him on Teams. He's usually on Teams all the time. He has it on his phone. He doesn't check his emails on his phone. So this is an experiment. Try calling him on Teams. It should work. Or we tried using the new platform. It didn't work very well. We experimented using the new platform. It didn't work very well. We tried to use the new platform. It didn't work very well. So we tried using the new platform means we just tried it as an experiment and it didn't work very well. Or we tried to use the new platform. Tried to use means we made an effort to use a new platform and it didn't work very well. First one, tried using the new platform. Well, let's see how it goes. We're going to experiment with it. Tried to use it. We really made an effort with it. It didn't work very well. So tried using, that's your experiment. Tried to use, you made an effort. Back to gerund here. I'm kind of mixing them together. Hope I'm not confusing you. We tried reducing our workload and delegating some tasks out to subordinates. So my team is feeling overwhelmed. We tried reducing our workloads and delegating out to tasks. So we just tried this to see how it worked as an experiment. Or I'm overwhelmed. I go talk to HR. HR says, try to delegate your workload to subordinates. So they're saying, make an effort to delegate, not try delegating. That's an experiment. Maybe it will help, maybe it won't help. But if you're giving someone advice, as in to make an effort to do something, then that's going to be infinitive. I hope that makes sense there. So again, you go to HR saying, I'm overwhelmed. HR can say, well, try delegating some tasks to your team. Try delegating tasks to your team. So by choosing gerund, HR doesn't know if this is going to solve the problem. They're not saying make an effort. They're saying try this, experiment, see if this makes a difference. Or if they say try to delegate more to your team, means make an effort. It's not an experiment to delegate more to your team. I hope you understand the difference there. So this is quite different. So try with infinitive is we tried to meet the deadline, but it was impossible, which means we tried to meet the deadline, but it was impossible. We made every effort to meet the deadline. It was impossible. We couldn't do it. She tried to fix a problem before the meeting. She wasn't able to. Or she tried to fix a problem before the meeting and she did. So she made an effort to fix the problem before the meeting and she was able to, or she wasn't able to. Or I tried to explain to the client many times, but they didn't understand. So I tried to explain to the client that we're not able to do what they asked, but they didn't understand. Or they did understand, but I made an effort to do so. So again, you're going to be late delivering a project. Okay, we're going to be late delivering a project. So your manager says, well, try explaining that to the client. Means experiment. Maybe the client will be open to it. Maybe the client will be understanding. So try explaining it to the client. Just see, it might work. It might work as an experiment. So try explaining to the client. That means it might work as an experiment. Or try to explain to the client that you're not able to do it, meaning make a big effort, make an effort to explain this to the client that you're not able to do it. So try explaining. It's an experiment. Maybe it will work. Maybe it won't. try to explain, make an effort to do something. Okay, the next two I have for you here, mean and regret. Now, these again are quite different. So, mean, doing something, means it's involved or something is implied in something. And mean to do something, this is an intention. Again, mean is quite a common verb in English. Your ears probably going to go, oh, yeah, that totally makes sense as you listen to these rules, but make sure you know these differences here. Okay, the first one here, I have a mean plus gerund, which means involved. You know, recording videos on YouTube means spending your weekend recording videos, or being an English teacher means understanding grammar in an in depth level. So here you have the new policy means working longer hours. Working with company B means being flexible with your schedule. Being a manager means being available over the weekends. So this just means something is involved in something else. The promotion means taking on more responsibility. Do you understand what moving into this company means doing? Yes, I understand moving into this company means taking on a lot more responsibility and international travel. So it means you understand what something is involving. Now, the next one with mean is mean to do something, meaning it's not your intention. So I didn't mean to call you earlier. I'm sorry. I called you by accident. Or I meant to call you earlier, but I was very busy in the day and I got caught up in things. I wasn't able to do it. Or I didn't mean to upset the client. English is not my first language, and I chose the wrong word when I was speaking with them. Or I didn't mean to send that report with Jim in the CC. I know he wasn't supposed to have it. It was a mistake. It wasn't my intention. Or we were meant to include the data in the report, but we didn't do it. So we had an intention to include the data in the report, but we didn't do it. So that means to do something is your intention, and mean doing something means it's an integral part of something. So, being a doctor means working long shifts and long hours. So something's integral, involved, it's in a main part of something. That's mean with ing, and intention means to do something. Next one is regret. Now, regret with to is not so common, but very common in business English. So we regret to inform you your application was not successful. We regret to inform you that we've gone with another candidate. I'm sure you've heard this all the time. If you've not heard it, then you've definitely used it. So regret with infinitive, it's very common in business language, but that's it pretty much. It just means I'm sorry to give you bad news. That's all it means. We regret to tell you that we're no longer working with your company, or we regret to inform you that we're no longer going to use you as a supplier. So to give someone bad news, regret to say, regret to inform, regret to announce, regret to tell. That means you're giving bad news basically to someone. The other meaning of regret is regret with gerund, and this means when you feel bad about something in the past. So, oh, I regret taking that phone call during the meeting. Or I regret not studying enough for my exam. I regret applying for that position. Now they're offering me the job and I don't really want to take it. Or we regret signing with that supplier. They're just not a great supplier. So regret with gerund is far more common in general English and business English, because it means you did something in the past that you wish you had not done. So this is pretty common. Regret gerund means you wish you didn't do something in the past. And regret to means you're giving someone bad news. Again, this is very common in business English. We regret to inform you, we regret to tell you, we regret to announce that we're closing the company. This is very common in business language, but not common in many situations at all. Okay, now we're looking at bare infinitive. I didn't even include these with the infinitive because how are they even infinitive? They're not. I mean, bare, if you know what bare means, if you walk around your house with no socks and no shoes, you're in bare feet. Bare means naked. So bare infinitive means infinitive that's naked without to, whatever. Anyways, it just means infinitive without to, but really it's kind of its own category. And these are modal verbs. Now, of course, there's exceptions, and this is why this grammar is so incredibly tricky. You're doing so great. I mean, we're not even at the end of the rules yet. After we get through the bare infinitive, I will give you a summary of all these rules. We'll go over a nice summary. Then we'll get into the quiz. This is a huge part of grammar. If you're having a difficult time taking everything on board that I'm giving you in this lesson. You're not alone. This is huge. And I have no idea how long this video is so far. After I'm just recording all the rules and all the examples, this could be like very, very long as a video. It needs to be. This is not an easy part of grammar. There's no magic pill here. There's no golden ticket to get through models, or with all the exceptions, or the gerund infinitive and the bare infinitive. This is pretty tricky. So when it comes to models, we have some rules here. Now, we use the bare infinitive. Again, bare means naked. So infinitive without to, with should, could, might, may, can, must. However, there's an exception here. We also have a thing in English called semi-modals. This is ought to, have to, need to, be able to, and used to. These are called semi-modals. They take the two. So it's confusing. So let's just have tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is like you're focusing as if you're looking down a tunnel. Let's have tunnel vision here, and we're just focusing on should, must, might, can, could, may. And these are models we do not use to with. I'll give you some examples here. We should meet the client tomorrow to discuss a proposal. You should improve your English if you want to get more jobs offers abroad. So you should do something, never to. We should contact the client to make sure they're happy with the project we're working on. We should update our equipment if we want to produce better results for our customers. So should do something, never should to. Must is the same thing. So you must submit the report by Friday. We must contact the client early next week. We must make money on this project that we're launching. So we must do something, not must to. We must do something. Same thing with might and may are very similar. Hardly any difference. I did an entire video on modal verbs. I'll link to it actually right above. And I did an entire video on modal verbs in business English or in English. And it's a really in-depth grammar lesson, just like this lesson. I'll link to it above here. So they might attend the conference next week. They may attend the conference next week. I don't know. I might go with the position. I'm not sure. I may go with the position. I'm not sure. So you wouldn't say I might to go with the position. No. I may to go with the position. No, I might. I may go with the position. I may move abroad next year. I might move abroad next year. So you don't want to use to there at all. We could review the presentation later today before you present to the clients if you want. We could review the presentation, not could to review the presentation. No, we could review the presentation. Or the government could, revoke the grant for this bit of research. The government could revoke a grant for something. Revoke means to take away something you've already given. Or we could go over, the meeting before we actually present to the board of directors. We could go over the meeting agenda or the notes before. So not could to, just could. And the last one there is can. You can contact me if you have any questions. We can work with the client anytime they want. They're fantastic to work with. I can go to your office anytime you'd like me to. So not I can to go to your office. No, I can go to your office anytime you'd like me to. Okay, next up is bare infinitive with make, let, and help. So these are verbs, make, let, and help. There are some exceptions here, of course, because this is a tricky part of grammar and tricky part of English. But for the most part, there's not too many exceptions here. So make, let, and help, we don't use to. It's a bare infinitive. So the manager made us stay late to complete the report. Or the client made them recheck the entire presentation. Or the director made her lead, the meeting alone. So if someone makes you do something, pushes you to do something, it's the bare infinitive. There's a little bit of exception here if it's passive voice. So we were made to work overtime, but that's passive voice, so it's a little bit different. But if someone forces you to do something, they make you do something. They don't make you to do something, they make you do something. So the client made us redo the entire presentation, or my boss made me come in on the weekend. So made me or made us do something, which means you're pushing someone to do something. Next one is let. Again, this takes a bare infinitive, and the company let me take an extended holiday, or they let us take the lead on the project, or our boss let us handle the client independently. The teacher let them reschedule the session, no problem. So I let my students choose the day of their classes. So it means you allow someone to do something, but by using let, it's not allowed to do. It's you let someone do something. So that's a bare infinitive there. Next one is help. So this can take either bare infinitive or it can take infinitive with two, a little bit different. She helped me finish the report. She helped me to finish the report. Both are fine here. We tend to use help without to. Grammatically, it's not wrong, but I included it on this list of bare infinitive because it's very uncommon. She helped me finish the report. Um, he helped me get the new job. He helped me to get the new job. I mean, very rarely will we add the to there. Again, it's not bad grammar. It's not wrong, but we tend in spoken English and in general English and even in report writing, we tend to use the bare infinitive there. Last category of bare infinitive. Now, of course, there's an exception here as well. I'm sorry. This is just full of exceptions. It's riddled with exceptions. Riddled means filled with something awful and complicated, and it is. But I'll explain it for you pretty straightforward here. So when we have the bare infinitive with perception verbs, these are see, hear, watch, notice, feel. These take the bare infinitive. We do not use to. However, we don't use to, we use a bare infinitive for the entire action. But if we're talking about an ongoing action, we use gerund. Okay, let me explain this to you here. Okay, so example, I saw her leave the meeting. I saw her leaving the meeting. So if I say I saw her leave the meeting, this means I saw the entire action from sitting in the meeting to standing up to walking out the door to leaving. I saw her leave the meeting. I so I saw her leave the meeting. I saw the entire action from beginning to end. I saw her leaving the meeting just means from going out the door. Okay, so we can use gerund here if we're seeing an ongoing action or a small part of the action. If it's the entire action, which usually when we use these perception verbs, it is the entire action. Usually, I'd say like 75% of the time, it's going to be bare infinitive. That's why it's included here. Okay, so we heard them announce the winner. We heard them announcing the winner. So we heard this big competition and we heard them announce the winner, which means we're at the conference and we heard them announce the winner. The winner is, and this is from beginning of end for the announcement. Or we heard them announcing the winner, just means that one moment that they were announcing the winner of an ongoing action. So you didn't hear the entire action, you heard a part of it, would be gerund. The entire thing from beginning to end would be the bare infinitive. Same thing here. She watched the presentation, or she watched him present the slides. She watched the presentation. She watched him present the slides. Or she watched him presenting the slides, which means just that ongoing action of presenting the slides. She watched that ongoing action. Or she watched the presentation. She watched him present the slides, which means from beginning of end of the presentation. There's a lot of gray area here. Gray area means that something's not black and white. It's not wrong. It's not right. There's a little overlap. This is overlap. There's a little bit of overflow and gray area here. I know this is tricky. Another one, they noticed her change the settings, or they noticed her changing the settings. So, for example, maybe you have a big online platform and they noticed her change the settings. So they, meaning the client or the customers or staff, noticed her change the settings, meaning they noticed that she made a change to the settings from beginning to end. They noticed her change the settings, or they noticed her changing the settings means they actually noticed, saw her, were aware of the fact that she was changing the settings in that process at that time. So it's a little bit different. And again, to feel, so I could say, during the meeting, all the phones were on the desk, and I felt the phone vibrate on the desk. So you're in the meeting, and you felt the phone vibrate on the desk. So from beginning of end of that phone vibration, you felt it, or I felt the phone vibrating on the desk, means at that one moment where it was vibrating. Again, here you could pretty much mix these up, because in most situations you could talk about the entire situation or the one situation, the one moment, but still you never want to make sure you don't use two. It's going to be bare infinitive or it's going to be gerund, whether you're talking about the completed entire action, the entire process, the whole action, or one particular part of it, or the ongoing action. Okay, if you've got this far in this video, then give yourself a pat on the back. This means this, a pat on the back. It's an idiom, but you can also do it like this. It means congratulate yourself. This is an incredibly complex, difficult part of grammar. I would really say my advanced level ESL learners and students, the parts of grammar they struggle with the most are articles, dependent prepositions, and gerund and infinitive. These are pretty basic, but the fact is a lot of these don't have rules. A lot of these have so many exceptions. This is why articles, dependent prepositions, or just prepositions in general, and gerund and infinitive is one of the most difficult parts of English grammar, because it's so complex. There's not a lot of rules. There's so many exceptions. So good for you for getting this far. Now you're at the point where we're going to give you a little bit of a summary. So let's do a little bit of a summary here, and then we'll go in and do the quiz to make sure you've locked in learning. Okay, first of all, gerund. We use gerund after prepositions. Remember, most phrasal verbs, well, all phrasal verbs pretty much, end in a preposition. So after a preposition goes a gerund. As the subject of a sentence, if a verb is starting a sentence, that verb is going to be a gerund. After nouns expressing an action, a habit, or a process, you're going to move into a gerund. After certain verbs, this list is long. If you don't remember it, no one does. You have to go back and develop an ear or an instinct for it. So after certain verbs, we go right into gerund. Next one, infinitive. After adjectives, we go right into infinitive. After question words, except for why, we go into infinitive. After nouns expressing the purpose or intention, we move into infinitive. And after that long list of exception verbs, we move into infinitive. Again, you have to just study that list. I've never met a student who could memorize that list, but you develop an ear for it and an instinct for it. And that's what you need to do to master gerund and infinitive. When it comes to both gerund and infinitive with no change in meaning, this could be begin, start, continue, love, hate, like, and prefer. No change in meaning, or the change in meaning is like really, really small. Not a big deal if you mix them up. Or they can take both and there is a change in the meaning. Remember, forget, stop, try, mean, and regret. Then, of course, we have our bare infinitive, and our bare infinitive, bare means naked, so it's infinitive without to. And these are modal verbs, except for ought, have to, need to, a couple of the semi-modals. But 80% of the modal verbs we use every day do not use to with infinitive. And make, let, and help verbs, and also perception verbs when we're talking about the entire process from beginning to end. Okay, we're here for your final quiz. Now, when you do this quiz, if you do have difficulty, if you get only 50% right, don't be hard on yourself. If you're watching my videos, you're not going to be 8 years old. You're going to be an adult. You're going to be probably 18 plus, and you're either going to be studying or working, or you're going to be an adult like me who's learning a second language. I'm learning Spanish. I know how hard it is as an adult to learn a language. You're going to be an adult who has a lot of other responsibilities in their life except for learning. So don't compare yourself as a learner when you were young, when your only job was to learn, as an adult where you have to work, take care of a family, take care of a husband or wife, take care of a home, take care of your parents, take care of many tasks you have going on. Don't be hard on yourself. There's so much going on in your life right now. Just learning a language on top of that takes more time. Be patient with yourself. So what I'm trying to say here is if you don't get 100% here, that's fine. That's okay. If you got 50%, well, you're 50% there. Focus on your wins, not your failures. Focus on the positive. If you got 50% in this quiz, Fantastic. Then go back and re-listen, rework, review until you get 100. If you got 100%, you're amazing, you're incredible, you're better than most C1 speakers that I've been teaching. This means you really have a good handle of this grammar, or you've really paid attention in this video. So let's go ahead down below and I'll give you this quiz. So I'm going to give you a quiz and you're going to decide if the verb that's missing is going to be bare infinitive, infinitive, or gerund, or both. Sometimes it can be both. Let's go ahead with the first one. So we agreed the project timeline after the meeting. We agreed reviewing, to review, review, what goes there? We agreed the project timeline after the meeting. We agreed to review. After agree, you want infinitive. We agreed to review. There you go. Next one, number 2. The client avoided the issue of late payments. The client avoided to mention the issue. The client avoided mention the issue. The client avoided mentioning the issue. The client avoided mentioning the issue. After mention, that's one of the exception verbs. You want ing, you want your gerund. The client avoided mentioning the issue. Number 3, the manager made the team overtime to meet the deadline. The manager made the team to work overtime to meet the deadline. The manager made the team work overtime to meet the deadline. The manager made the team working overtime to meet the deadline. Does one sound better than the other? Again, really use your ear. Really use your ear and your instinct here. The manager made the team, it's B, work overtime to meet the deadline. After make, you want to use a bare infinitive. Number 4, we plan new offices in Singapore next year. We plan new offices in Singapore next year. We plan opening new offices in Singapore next year. We plan to open new offices in Singapore next year. We plan open offices in Singapore next year. After plan, you want to use the infinitive with to. So we plan to open new offices in Singapore next year. Number 5, she suggested the proposal before sending it. She suggested review the proposal before sending it. She suggested reviewing the proposal before sending it. She suggested to review the proposal before sending it. After suggest, to review, reviewing, just review. She suggested reviewing this gerund. After suggest, you want to use gerund. She suggested reviewing the proposal before sending it. Number 6, they let us from home twice a week. They let us from home twice a week. They, the company, let us to work from home twice a week. They let us working from home twice a week. They let us work from home twice a week. Does one sound better than the other to you? Do you remember the rules? They let us work from home twice a week. After let, you want to use the bare infinitive. Number 7, we must to all client emails before 5 p.m. We must to all client emails before 5 p.m. We must replying to all client emails before 5 p.m. We must reply to all client emails before 5 p.m. We must to reply to all client emails before 5 p.m. Do you remember the rule? What sounds better? Remember, most modal verbs are followed by the bare infinitive. We must reply to all client emails before 5 p.m. Okay, next one, number 8. He's looking forward to his team in person. He's looking forward to meet his team in person. He's looking forward to meeting his team in person. He's looking forward to meet his team in person. Don't choose that third one because that doesn't make sense. He's looking forward to meet. He's looking forward to. Now, this is to is a preposition. It's also a phrasal verb, looking forward to, and those are followed by gerunds. He's looking forward to meeting his team in person. Okay, next one, number 9. The CEO decided the announcement until next week. The CEO decided postponing the announcement until next week. The CEO decided postpone the announcement until next week. The CEO decided to postpone the announcement until next week. Think about what sounds right here for you. Think about the rules. This is an exception. The CEO decided to postpone the announcement until next week. Okay, next one. She saw the intern the report before leaving. She saw the intern the report before leaving. She saw the intern checking the report before leaving. She saw the intern check the report before leaving. She saw the intern to check the report before leaving. What's right here? She saw the intern check the report before leaving, which means she saw the entire action. You could also say she saw the intern checking the report before leaving, but it was a small little action, not the entire action of checking the report. So she saw the intern check the report before leaving means the completed action. He checked the entire report. Okay, number 11, we're discussing a new hiring policy. We're discussing a new hiring policy. We're discussing implementing a new hiring policy. We're discussing implement a new hiring policy. We're discussing to implement a new hiring policy. We're discussing, after discuss, it's one of those exception verbs. We're discussing implementing a new hiring policy. Again, I know the ing and ing students go, that can't be right. Well, it is. It's fine. It's perfect. It's actually right. So we're discussing implementing a new hiring policy. Number 12, it's important, clear instructions to your team. It's important, clear instructions to your team. It's important, give clear instructions to your team. It's important, giving clear instructions to your team. It's important to give clear instructions to your team. It's important, what's the rule? Well, important is an adjective, and after adjectives, we want to use infinitive +2. So it's important to give clear instructions to your team. Okay, number 13, he stopped coffee because it made him anxious. He stopped coffee because it made him anxious. He stopped drinking coffee because it made him anxious. He stopped to drink coffee because it made him anxious. He stopped drink coffee because it made him anxious. What goes here? He stopped drinking coffee because it made him anxious, which means he stopped the activity completely. He stopped to drink a coffee on the way to the presentation. That's different. Stopping one action to start another action. Totally different. He stopped drinking coffee because it made him anxious. Okay, we've done it. We've gone through gerund and infinitive with all the exceptions, all the different verbs that take one form or another. This is such tricky grammar. Hopefully, you're coming out of this lesson learning more than you came into this lesson with. Again, I don't expect anyone to be able to completely master this grammar in one lesson, but you're going to be a lot more closer. And again, if you had difficulty in this quiz, go back and rewatch some of the sections. Develop a good ear and instinct for all those exception verbs. So all the exceptions, verbs that just happen to go with gerund or happen to go with infinitive, go through and listen to them multiple times, listen to them a lot. If you still have a lot of difficulty with this, I do have my book series, the Global Business English Mastery Series. I do run master classes with grammar and vocabulary, everything. Or just go out there and listen to more podcasts, listen to more series, listen to more English, and develop an ear for the gerund and infinitive. Again, what's probably really tricky for you is all those exception verbs because there's really no rules in there. Thank you so much for joining me for this grammar lesson. Thank you. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully you are a lot closer to achieving your goals in mastering this type of grammar. If you did enjoy this video, I encourage you to like the video and subscribe to my channel. It helps me grow here on YouTube. And let me know in the comments other parts of grammar that you find tricky. Thank you so much for joining me.